The 49ers might be up to something at left guard. One of the most intriguing openings due to free agency on this team. And as we head into week 2 of free agency, I think it's time to talk a little bit more about the offensive line, especially since Joel Bitonio, longtime stalwart at that guard position, is no longer under contract with the Cleveland Browns. And if he doesn't retire, there's a chance he does. He's said to be contemplating retirement, but he might fit for the 49ers to massively upgrade what was the weakest part of their offensive line. I mean, just as an intro here, this is how the line looked last year. Blue is good, red is bad. These are percentile scores. Pass blocking is in this column, run blocking is in this column. The 49ers had solid play from Ben Barch, but only 200 snaps of it when he was healthy. And the issue with Ben Barch has been the inability to remain healthy. The 49ers then went to Connor Colby, the rookie who's down here. That was terrible. Second percentile pass blocker. That meant that 98% of guards scored better in pass blocking than Colby. It got a little bit better with Spencer Burford when he split time with Ben Barch and then ultimately took over for Ben after Ben suffered another injury, a season-ending injury, but still not very good for Burford. And Burford is reportedly going to be visiting the Los Angeles Chargers tomorrow. The Chargers, coached by Jim Harbaugh, coordinated by Mike McDaniel. They're going to have a look at Spencer Burford, who is almost certainly not going to be re-signing with the 49ers. And you can see why. The metrics aren't good. So, I mean, in an ideal world for the 49ers, Ben Barch would be able to stay healthy. But you could see the snap counts of the starting five last year. You had over 1,100 snaps for everyone, including Trent Williams, except for Ben Barch. Only 200 snaps. So I don't think the 49ers can put all their eggs in that Ben Barch basket. And what's really curious right now is that San Francisco has yet to re-sign Ben Barch. Even though last year he played for near the league minimum. It was guaranteed, but it was near the league minimum. And a signing like that, a re-signing like that I don't think is complicated. You could sign him to the same amount of money, not much more this year, just because he only played 200 snaps last year. But the 49ers have still kept that spot open. They have added Brett Toth, the former Philadelphia Eagle, who's got a fascinating story. We can talk more about him. But the way that I look at Toth from the outside, especially because of the role that he played in Philadelphia, is as rotational depth at all of the interior line spots. So you could take a look here at what the 49ers have done so far. They signed Vidarian Lowe. He is the backup to Trent Williams. Obviously, the contractual business with Trent Williams is ongoing. But now we're talking about the spot next to Trent, left guard, which was the weakness for the 49ers last year. They've got to get that figured out in front of Brock Purdy. Like, if the season started today, I think that Toth might actually be the left guard one, but I don't think that they're planning that for him. I think that he's going to be a backup left guard, a backup center, maybe even a backup right guard if the 49ers need him there. We saw the Connor Colby experiment last year. I'm sure that he'll have room to get better, but I don't think that the 49ers want to go into the season with him starting there either. And then if it's Ben Barch, just like it was last year, well, the health is a concern. That's where I wonder if the reason why the 49ers haven't re-signed Ben Barch quite yet, maybe the reason is that they are waiting to see what happens with Joel Bitonio. Let me show you the list of free agents at the left guard position entering this offseason. And then in this column right here, if this one is filled out, it means that that free agent has signed with a new team or re-signed with his old one. So this is just based on the APY, the highest salaries. Somebody like Elgton Jenkins started with the Packers, has signed with the Browns. I think the Browns are obviously very ready to move on from Joel Bitonio, who's going to be 35 years old, but is still playing or has still played good football. And by the way, he's one of the most durable players in football. Bitonio, the second highest paid left guard on this list, remains an unrestricted free agent. You see this gap right here? That's really intriguing to me because everybody else behind him, Isaac Seumalo, John Simpson, Nick Allegretti, Zion Johnson, David Edwards, all of these guys have signed with new teams. I mean, we were even talking about Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham is down here formerly of the Raiders. He was signed with the Jets. That was somebody that the 49ers courted on a 30 visit back when he came out of Memphis a few seasons ago. So even some of these lower level guards have re-signed. Now, obviously, Ben Barch hasn't. Barch higher than Dylan Parham on the APY scale. You can see here, Barch 1.337 million last year with 1.2 million or so guaranteed. I don't see why it'd be a problem for the 49ers to bring him back with that type of deal right now, unless they're waiting for something else to develop at left guard. So then I just look up this list. I just move my eyes up and up. Everybody here at the top is re-signed except for Joel Bitonio. No 2026 team, and he's going to be 35 years old. Would the 49ers be willing to spend a little bit of money, or would Joel Bitonio be willing to finish his career in search of a title for a little less money? His previous deal was $16 million a year. It's worth noting the 49ers have never paid big money for guard under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, but it has been an Achilles heel for this football team, I think, on a season in, season out basis. You can go back to the 2019 Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. They had some struggles, not at left guard, but at right guard that really derailed them in that game. Mike Person was the starting guard for the 49ers there. The 2020 season was derailed by a bunch of injuries, but center was a major problem point because they had so many injuries. They got down to their fourth string center in 2020. 2021, the 49ers had tackle injuries, both to Trent Williams and to the right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, who actually suffered a season ender. So it was really hard to evaluate that line. You have to tip your cap to Jimmy Garoppolo for fighting through injuries of his own behind an injured offensive line, making it all the way to the NFC Championship game. By 2022, Spencer Burford had showed up for the 49ers, and he was the starting right guard. And I think that he might have been ahead of where you would expect the rookie to be for the 49ers, but it was still below average at the position. And by 2023, the 49ers realized that this was a big enough issue to where they would have to sign a veteran, and they did, in John Feliciano, to essentially split time with Burford, but I think by the end of the season, take Burford's job. That was in the 2023 season. The tragedy came in the Super Bowl where we saw John Feliciano get hurt, knocked out of the game, so the 49ers had to go to Burford full time, and then Burford obviously blew the blocking assignment on Chris Jones in overtime, and because of that, Brock Purdy could not find his open man in the end zone, Brandon Aiyuk, and the rest of his history, obviously a sore subject still to this day for the 49ers and their fans. But when I illustrate that guard has been a problem year in, year out, this is what I'm really talking about. It has been an issue all the way to two. Guard has been an issue. I know that I disappeared there. Let me make sure my audio is still good. Has been an issue all the way through 2025 where the problems moved actually to the left guard position. Now, I will say that even when right guard was solid for the 49ers, like some of these years it was okay, left guard, and not the majority of the years, that, as you can tell, what I just told you, that the 49ers had problems at right guard for the majority of the time, they were never great at left guard. I mean, Laken Tomlinson was dependable for the team. I don't think he was a great player, but he was dependable for the 49ers. He was a warrior. He left in free agency, and the 49ers brought in Aaron Banks. And I know that the Packers signed Aaron for $19 million a year, but he never really delivered above replacement level play for the 49ers at left guard. So now with the departure of Banks, who at best I think was a 50th percentile guy, the 49ers have found somebody who can deliver roughly that level of play in Ben Barch, but he hadn't been as durable as Aaron Banks, and availability is the best ability. So they've got to figure it out. I think that last year, when you look at the 49ers performance, and we can open up this chart again. I love this chart because, oops, I don't have it ready yet. Because I X'd out of the screen. I actually need to reshare the window. Here we go. All right, that's much better. When you look at last season's performance for the 49ers, Connor Colby, when he was in there, probably compromised Trent Williams some just to his left, because Williams probably had to clean up some of his mess, right? The offensive line works in unison, especially a zone blocking offensive line. And Trent Williams is one of the greatest of all time at left tackle, but if he's by right next to a rookie at left guard who is just swimming, who's lost, who's just drowning in information, that's got to be tough for Trent Williams. He can't do what he normally does if he's having to assist the left guard more often. So I think that's why the 49ers ultimately moved to Burford, and then they got Barch back, and then it had to be Burford for the rest of the way. But it still was not a great setup, and Burford now visiting the Chargers is likely going to be offered a lot more money than the 49ers are willing to pay. The Oscars are going on right now, Mike tells me, and we're still nearing 1,000 viewers. So we're doing good. We're doing well. I guess I should speak in correct grammatical English. We are going head to head with the Oscars, but we don't care. We're about to get 1,000 live concurrents. That's what this channel is all about. So thank you to all of you watching right now as we discuss the 49ers offensive line, and we move to Joel Bitonio, the 35-year-old former Cleveland Brown, who, look at this, Joel Bitonio's snaps. Like, getting over 1,000 snaps a season means that you're not getting hurt, right? It means that you're extremely durable. You might have some injuries here and there, but 1,000 snap season for a lineman, that is a gladiators type of season. Joel Bitonio, 2017, 1,068 snaps. 2018, 1,091 snaps. 2019, 1,039 snaps. 2020, 1,125 snaps. 2021, 1,107 snaps. 2022, 1,172 snaps. 2023, 1,107 snaps. 2024, 1,178 snaps. And 2025, this past year at age 34, 1,081 snaps for Joel Bitonio. The guy has slowed down moderately in terms of pass blocking grade, as you would expect as he enters his mid-30s. But I mean, the prime of his career came when Cleveland's offensive line was playing its best football in 2020, 2021, maybe into 2022. 2020, right? That was probably the height of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. But, Joel Bitonio was all-pro level player then. He is still at a well above replacement level guard now. And you can't say that the 49ers have had that at that position outside of maybe 1 year of Dominic Pooney, his rookie year in 2024. And Pooney was playing this past year with a knee injury, so that he still was okay at right guard, and it was still a position that you were like, okay, this is not terrible for the 49ers, but he wasn't as good as he was his rookie year because he was playing through that MCL. But Pooney as a rookie, when he was healthy in 2024, especially for the first 3 quarters of it, I think he was well above league average. It was an above replacement level player. Outside of that season, the 49ers haven't gotten all too much of that. I know that Lakin was extremely durable at left guard. He didn't miss a single snap. Maybe he missed one because I think he lost his shoe or something, but he wasn't hurt at all for the 49ers. That was all good stuff. The 49ers, I think, could really, really benefit, especially with Trent getting older at that left tackle position, especially with this uncertainty regarding Trent Williams' contract. One way that you can ensure that you can at least keep on treading water with that offensive line is to make sure that the position next to Trent is solidified. And if we don't think that Brett Toth is a full season starting solution for the 49ers, if we're not sure that Ben Barch is going to be fully healthy for the 49ers, if we don't think that Connor Colby, based on what we were all watching as we're analyzing the 49ers last year, is the answer, at least in this year, if we think that 7th round pick out of Iowa still needs at least 1 season of seasoning, well, then I think all eyes should focus on Joel Bitonio, who played in a related system in Cleveland, who, I get it, is contemplating retirement, but I think the 49ers might be waiting on that right now. Like, I really think they may have something up their sleeve because Barch has yet to re-sign with this football team. Mike asks me, can they rely on a rookie at left guard? And before I say never, it actually has happened before. I mean, Spencer Burford was a rookie at the right guard position, but I will say, and Dominic Pooney was a rookie at the right guard position as well, and he did fine. I will say, though, that there seems to be something inherently more difficult about left guard, and left guards are paid more around the league. It is technically more of the blind side of the quarterback. There seems to be a little bit more pressure. Left guard, in general, will go against the best 3 technique, although defensive lines are starting to shift more and more now than they ever have. But the standard matchup is left tackle against a top pass rusher. I know that some pass rushers like to rush from the right side, so the right tackles have become increasingly important in pass protection. But left guard versus the top pass rushing 3 technique is a one-on-one that you see most frequently. So for whatever reason, and this is something I'd love to delve into more with somebody who knows more about offensive play than I do, but left guard seems to be a higher value position than right guard. And the last time that the 49ers drafted a rookie meant for the left guard position was Aaron Banks in 2021, and he sat the whole season behind Colton McKivitz. There was no, okay, let's insert him right away. He played 6 snaps in garbage time in a blowout win over Urban Meyer's Jacksonville Jaguars. That was Aaron Banks in, I think, week 11, if my photographic memory serves correct, 2021. It was a week after the 49ers beat the Rams on Monday Night Football, Levi's Stadium, with a crazy 19 or 20 play drive to start the game. Jimmy Garoppolo was awesome in that game. Anyway, the point is that rookie has not started for the 49ers at left guard. At right guard, it's happened. At left guard, it hasn't. And left guard is where the 49ers have that hole to fill right now along the offensive line. So one more time, a look at the free agents. A very conspicuous opening here when we look at Joel Bitonio's name. Somebody who's been an all-pro, Pro Bowler, has, there's carryover between that Kevin Stefanski system. I know he's no longer with the Browns, but that was the system for a long time there in Cleveland. I think there's some carryover between that and what the 49ers might run. Now, Bitonio's pass rush or pass blocking efficiency grade last year actually was a little bit lower than Ben Bartch's, but nobody is pretending that Bartch was a bad player when he's available. It's just the lack of availability that should be the 49ers' main concern here entering 2026. So what do you guys think? Joel Bitonio, do you think that he's going to retire? It's really weird because he let his contract just void with the Browns. So they were wanting a decision. They pushed back the void date of the contract. They reworked it. He still wouldn't give him a decision. And if that contract voids, then a lot of the future prorated money has to hit as dead money right now. And either you extend him or he retires and you figure something out with a post-June 1st designation for the retirement. None of that happened. It doesn't seem like Bitonio and the Browns are in great terms. You just let the contract void, and something like 22 or 23 million accelerated to hit the cap right now. So it seems that if Joel Bitonio decides to keep playing in 2026, it seems that he's not going to be playing for the Browns. And that's a good left guard. It's one of the highest paid left guards in the game with an uncertain future. And the 49ers, for whatever reason, maybe it's related, maybe it's not, they have not, as you can see here, re-signed Ben Bartch. He is not with a new 2026 team. So what could the 49ers be cooking at one of the most important positions? Now, offensive line last year for me was fascinating for the 49ers. They were not as bad as the common fan and the common media member alleges they were. But the analysis is just so complicated. Again, red is bad, blue is good. And you can see the 49ers were bad. This is just run game stuff. Bad in terms of yards per carry, number 26 in the league. But that's a really general stat. We don't know whose fault that is. Is it the running back's fault? Is it the offensive line's fault? Is it the receiver's fault blocking? Are the tight ends at fault there? Well, let's look at adjusted line yards per carry, the second row here. That tries to isolate the offensive line more because it's only looking at the carries between 0 and 5 yards downfield. So it's looking at the primary blocking performances. The 49ers ranked number 9. All right, that's good. They ranked in the light blue here. Not bad at all. How about power success rate? This is the percentage. This will surprise people. Power success rate is the percentage of third or fourth downs and short, so less than 2 yards to go, that are converted into first downs. It's a very O-line dependent stat. If you don't have a good O-line, you're not going to run well on third and fourth and short. The 49ers actually converted the number 4 rate of third and fourth and shorts in the league. So that seems to do well for the line. Then stuff rate is tough, though. Stuff rate is how many times, like percentage of time, what rate of the time does the offensive running game get stuffed for no gain or a loss? It happened quite a bit for the 49ers. Now, we can't really tell if that's the line's fault just based on the stat because Could be bad play calling. There could be too many pass rushers or run stoppers for the line to block, but still curious. They did worse there. And then here, this might really exonerate the offensive line. The last one is open field yards per carry. This is the amount of yards picked up past 10 yards downfield. The 49ers ranked number 29. That has nothing to do with offensive line, unless you expect offensive line to be more than 10 yards downfield blocking. It has way more to do with tight ends and especially receivers downfield. And the reason the 49ers ranked number 29, near dead last in open field yards per carry last year, was because their receivers were not blocking and they were not creating space. It is clear as day when you watch the tape. It is clear as day when you look at this statistically. It's clear as day based on what they've done this offseason. They decided to go add a big X receiver because that's exactly what they were missing last year with Mike Evans, 6'5", 230. It's going to draw safeties his direction. He's going to block. Juwan Jennings, I talked about the potential of him maybe re-signing at a discount since he hasn't joined any team, but that's unlikely for the 49ers. He had 5 broken ribs last year. That's a reason why I think he wasn't as good of a run blocker on the outside. George Kittle missed most of the season for the 49ers. And you know who missed the full season? Who really screwed the team over? Who's a big, big part of why it's so bad right here in open field yards per carry? Brandon Aiyuk. There is an absolutely brain dead, and I will say it again, there's an absolutely brain dead take going around now. And for some people, it's cool. I love how people will see a take that's not even theirs on social media and adopt it because it's cool because they want to fit in like a bunch of sheep. But there's a take that says, oh, the 49ers, like, what are they doing? They just need to let go of Brandon Aiyuk. It didn't work out with him. They just need to be done with it and release him. And it's like, Brandon Aiyuk earned $48 million. I shouldn't even say earned. He got $48 million for 7 games and 25 catches over 2 years since he signed that extension. Let's do some math. Let's do some honest math here. $48,400,000 is what the 49ers paid out to Brandon Aiyuk ever since he was extended. He caught 25 passes since that contract extension. Brandon Aiyuk earned $1.94 million. He earned nearly $2 million per catch. Okay? The 49ers paid Brandon Aiyuk enough money to where they can decide when it's best for them to cut ties with him. They do not have to do Brandon Aiyuk any favors. They should not do Brandon Aiyuk any favors. He earned $2 million per catch. Like every single time he caught the football for the 49ers, $2 million. Like the 49ers can decide when they're cutting him. And it doesn't have to be something that's convenient for Brandon Aiyuk, period. So these takes online that, oh, they need to move on from him now. He deserves this. They're holding him hostage. They paid him $48.4 million for 7 games and 25 catches of work. On top of that, he abandoned the team. He decided to forego $27 million more of guarantees, and a team that was relying on him because they made the commitment to him in 2024, that was relying on him entering the 2025 season at the X receiver position. They can sign anybody else that was worth a lot of money because they had already dedicated so much guaranteed money to Brandon Aiyuk. He left them high and dry. He left the 49ers hanging. So this whole idea that San Francisco should somehow do something that's suboptimal for the team, and yes, it would be suboptimal. There are a couple of things here. No, you don't just let a guy go early so that he can join a competitor earlier than he has to. Like, you don't just give handouts to the rest of the league. And 2, you've got to set some kind of precedent. And I think the rest of the NFL should actually be happy that the 49ers are holding firm here, because it's dangerous. It's downright dangerous for the NFL as an operation if players can start walking away from $120 million contracts that include $48 million guaranteed. That's what Brandon Aiyuk got. It was even more than that had he just done the bare minimum. But it's downright dangerous precedent to set if guys can start conveniently walking away from such decisions to go play with their buddies elsewhere. That's just the case. Like the entire league should recognize how dangerous that is. So the entire league should be happy that the 49ers are saying, no, we are not going to make this convenient for Brandon Aiyuk. The way that this likely ends, I could just draw out the timeline for you guys, is that he will be due the next 20, I think 25 million is the next chunk on September 1st. That's the deadline date to get rid of him. At the very worst, if you're the 49ers, you can just hold on to him through then, and he can't join another team. And you're not helping out another team in the NFC, and you're sending a message that you can't just walk and have training camp with somebody else. You can't just go play with your buddies somewhere else because you signed the deal with us. We rewarded you with a contract worth up to $120 million, and there are consequences for not honoring it. So there are a lot of wimps out there. There are a lot of people with these, lukewarm takes, just trying to be cool, trying to be like, oh, wow, this team is bad. The 49ers were unpopular around the league. If their front office was out to get people, Mike Evans wouldn't want to come to sign with the 49ers for a discount. Dre Greenlaw wouldn't be clamoring to get back. You know what I heard? That Dre Greenlaw's Instagram profile picture was 49ers through and through. Then he went to the Broncos and there was no picture there for a year. The day after he re-signed with the 49ers, it was back to 49ers picture on his Instagram. Like, guys, as this free agency has shown, guys are coming to play for the 49ers, and they're doing so at fair rates. They're not even talking about a substation. The problem seems to be Brandon Aiyuk. It doesn't seem to be the 49ers. And anyway, that take has just really ground my gears, if you will. I've seen it going around today, and it's like, no, this is not the correct take. The 49ers should do everything in their power to make this difficult for Brandon Aiyuk and better for them. And you know what? If the Commanders want Brandon Aiyuk early, if they want him for training camp, or if they want him for OTAs, or any other time, they could try to trade for him. They could make it worth the 49ers' while. But handouts are just not a thing that you do in this league, especially if you have given essentially a handout to Brandon Aiyuk with a contract number of payout, $48.4 million for 7 games and 25 catches. Anyway, long story short, the reason why the 49ers open field yards per carry was so bad last year is they didn't have an X receiver. They weren't blocking well downfield. That's a position that when they gave out that contract in 2024 to Brandon Aiyuk, they were counting on him to deliver for the football team. And he didn't. Now they're going to have Mike Evans there. And I would almost guarantee that they're going to be better in this last stat with Evans drawing safety help from the X receiver position to his side, with the 49ers probably investing more. We'll see what else they do at receiver, but they got to be better blocking. And of course, you need George Kittle back, because whenever he was on the field, he erased a lot of the problems the 49ers saw last year, but he wasn't on the field for about half the season, and he wasn't on the field for the very end. So that can help the run game as well. But if we want to zero in on left guard, Joel Bitonio is a name that I definitely would circle. We'll see what they do. But I mean, for a while, common sense just told me that the 49ers would re-sign Ben Barch, and then they would continue to develop Connor Colby, and Brett Toth would be the number 2 behind Barch unless he got hurt. But the longer it takes to execute that move, with Barch currently not on the team, the more it seems to me that the 49ers might have something up their sleeve here. And then I look to see that Joel Bitonio is indeed still available. So we shall see. There's a big storm coming here in Nashville. I got I'm getting notifications not only from like the weather service, but also from my wife, who is laying down upstairs. It's already 9:44 p.m. here. She just sent me this radar, and she said, here it comes. I'm going to put this radar up on the screen. I'm going to show you guys what we're dealing with right now. Let me save this picture. And I heard in California, it's going to hit 90 degrees in Visalia on Wednesday. And I heard it's going to hit 75 degrees at the ski resorts, and all the snow is going to melt this week. So they had to close all the ski resorts early. So it's really good that we did our Shaver Lake stuff last weekend. I was like, oh, I got to fly out to California. I went out there for 48 hours. I'm kind of detoxing from California right now. I was there 48 hours. Got some good skiing in. We got some good content in. We got the Eddie Pinheiro re-signing video done from Huntington Lake. So all that was great. Meanwhile, here, it was like a good 75, 80 degrees this weekend. Tornado warning right now. And then it drops down to something like 37 degrees tomorrow. But then it gets warm again. So it's a wild, wild time of the year. Let's see this right here, though. Oh, boy. Yeah. I mean, we got something big coming in. And it's 73 degrees now, and it's going to drop a good 40 degrees or so very, very quickly. This is what we're dealing with at the very moment. It's almost here. So if my power goes out here in a few minutes, you guys will know what happened. It means that we're stuck in a tornado. And you'll have to hope that I make it out the other end. Right now, I'm going to sit and start answering questions. I think we're beating the Oscars in ratings. Somebody gave me a super chat for $1.99 and he said, please block me. Why would I block you? You didn't do anything to make me mad. You just gave me a nice little super chat. So I'm not going to block you. Thanks for the super chat, though. You're going to have to pay more to get blocked. $1.99? $1.99 is going to get me like a Costco hot dog or something. I have more expensive tastes when it comes to food. So if you want me to block you, you got to like pay at least $20 or something like that. You got to be a total ass, or you have to pay up a little bit more. I'm not going to block you for $1.99. Like, come on. In this economy, $1.99? No. Draft a guard with experience in the zone blocking scheme. Sure, 49ers have done that before. It's worked moderately well, I would say, at right guard. They just never have done that at left guard. And they haven't re-signed Ben Barch. You would think that if they're going to draft somebody, Barch, $1 million guaranteed probably, if that. Last year it was $1.2 million guaranteed. You'd think that they could re-sign that insurance plan. They haven't yet. It does make me wonder if the 49ers do try to take a bigger swing on the veteran market at left guard. Look, here we are talking about Joey Bosa. Here we are talking about the safety position, what the 49ers might do there. But left guard remains a hole on this offense. You know, at this point, let me make an amendment. And I hear some thunder outside, so this is getting serious. If there's a really loud clap of thunder, maybe the mic will pick it up as well. But I think we need to make an adjustment to the depth chart because I don't think that the plans are for Connor Colby to start. I'm not sure if the plans are for Brett Toth to start. I'm going to put Connor Colby as the backup right guard, and I'm just going to have a vacancy right now at the 49ers starting left guard position. I'm going to denote the vacancy with a gray box. That's a starting position they still need to fill. And unless you've got some kind of grand plan up your sleeve for the NFL draft, I don't think that you want to enter the draft, especially a team like the 49ers, with starting positions that need to be filled. Now, Brett Toth, we can talk a bit about him, the Army graduate, West Point, who has developed into quite a fine lineman, a good backup rotational piece for the Eagles. Maybe he can start the season at left guard if the 49ers need that, but that's not the role that he played in Philadelphia, that's for sure. So I've got it. I'm thinking Brett Toth for the 49ers is rotational interior line depth. I see a hole at left guard. I don't see many other starting holes on this roster. Obviously, Purdy, McCaffrey, Juszczyk, Evans, Pearsall. Now, I'm a little bit curious about the wide receiver 3 position. Who's going to win that? Is it going to be Watkins, Cowing, a rookie? I think DeMarcus Robinson's a backup because he can play the X. He can play any position, which is nice. Maybe the third receiver is not even on the team yet for the 49ers. Maybe they somehow re-signed Jawan Jennings for a discount and he's there. But for now, you know, there's some uncertainty. You know, for uncertain positions, why don't we put that gray highlight there? Okay. The gray is going to mean uncertainty for the depth chart now. And I could even denote that right here. Uncertainty. Let's bold it. Let's highlight it in gray. Boom. All right. So I think there's uncertainty at wide receiver 3. I think there's uncertainty at left guard. In a way, there might be uncertainty at tight end 2 with Luke Farrell, the blocking tight end, but I don't see how the 49ers make an upgrade there at this point. So that might be something they just roll with. Along the defensive line, I don't see all that much uncertainty. Along the linebacking core, if they're healthy, this is the way that it's going to be. Now, maybe there's uncertainty down here at free safety. That should be another spot that we highlight in gray. Marquise Siegel really struggled coverage-wise last year. So maybe the 49ers do have to shore that up with another signing, another draft pick. But I would say about 3 spots of uncertainty on this team between offense and defense. And then I think you've got the return position. Sky Moore has left to Green Bay, and Junior Bergen is somebody who's a specialist for those positions, but he did struggle in the preseason and training camp last year. Mike says that edge number 2 is also a position of uncertainty, and I get it. I don't know who to highlight. Maybe you highlight Sam Okawanu for that. The thing is that in actual pass rushing situations, I think that the 49ers, since losing Bryce Huff and all, they're also, probably going to be changing some of their defensive end approach under Raheem Morris. I think in actual pass rushing situations, you can use another pure, strong edge rusher, maybe somebody who could be more of a 3-down player. I don't know exactly how they're thinking of this, but I do think that Joey Bosa would potentially fit any sort of need for the 49ers, which is why I've been talking so much about Joey Bosa. I know that they're interested in him, but I don't know what the price is going to end up being. I know that Cheryl Bosa is interested in Joey Bosa, her son, joining her other son, Nick Bosa, with the 49ers. And I talked about it a lot this morning, and it definitely is one of the positions that we're going to keep an eye out on. So you say that older players are more injury prone. How has Joel Bitonio delivered 1,000 snaps a season, more than 1,000 snaps a season, for about 10 straight years? I just went through it. Ever since 2017, Joel Bitonio has been over 1,000 snaps. He hadn't been injury prone at all. Somebody like Calais Campbell is going to be 40. He barely misses snaps. Some guys just know how to stay healthy. Some guys who are younger, like Ben Barch, seem to get hurt a whole heck of a lot more. So, okay, it might be, I'll give you this. It might be correlated with age, right? Older players might start to suffer more injuries, but it is not a hard and fast rule. And I think it's a lot smarter to look at this on a player-by-player basis, because you could miss a really good football player if you just go by age in Joel Bitonio. Somebody who has stayed good, somebody who has stayed healthy, somebody who I think would immediately upgrade the 49ers at that left guard position. Now, the question is he going to retire or not? But that could be something that the 49ers are holding up their sleeve. I hear some thunder. I don't think you guys can. This mic is too good. It doesn't pick up stuff from the outside. Joel Bitonio did not sign with the Browns. Somebody is telling me he signed with Cleveland. Joel Bitonio's contemplating retirement. His contract voided 2 days ago. He has not re-signed with the Browns. He is sitting around and determining what to do with his future. And I think there's a non-zero chance that the 49ers have been in contact with him. All right, let's get some good questions in here before the power goes out. If it does go out, you know that I'm fighting through a tornado here. Hopefully it passes and everything is okay in time for the resumption of free agency activities tomorrow, Monday morning. It's been a hell of a week. No, we unfortunately don't have a cellar to protect ourselves. You have to, if there's a tornado, you're supposed to, and I learned this being a California guy, I know all about earthquakes. The first thing I protect in an earthquake is my TV. I've run up to the TV and held it before, but um, in a tornado, you're supposed to run inside, like to the innermost room without any windows and stuff. Now, we would hear tornado sirens before I would have to do that. So we're not at that point yet right now. Somebody asking me, what's the story on Juice? Is there a story on Juice that I'm missing? I mean, he's under contract. This is his final year under contract. Juice just got, and this was a long time coming. It was well overdue. Gave Kyle Juszczyk an honorary. I mean, he should have had this before. Core player yellow highlight. He has deserved this for a long time, and he is now an A-list pillar of the 49ers highlighted in yellow. They've added 2 from the outside this free agency, but they've added 3 because we hadn't had Juszczyk highlighted before. But he is so important to the offense. He's one of the best bargains in the NFL, making just $4 million and change a year, but he is so important to what the 49ers are doing, just multi-positionally. It is really cool to see he is now highlighted there in yellow. Yeah, I took your $2 and didn't even acknowledge your question because I don't answer stupid questions. We've got the best and most viewed channel here. We don't have to mess around with the minor leagues. That's the answer to your question, but I'm not even going to bother putting it up on the screen. This is the major leagues. This is the big leagues, and big league teams don't play against single A teams. That's the answer to your question. Is the Mac Jones trade market dead? Well, if teams aren't willing to pay maybe even a first-round pick to the 49ers, something that would blow the 49ers away, it's a non-starter. Why would they get rid of somebody who scored number 9 in QBR last year, who saved the season, who can save it again? Why would the 49ers willingly put themselves one play away from the end of their season in 2026 after they've already invested so much in building this team? If Mac Jones is not on this team, your season is one play away from ending in 2026. If Brock Purdy breaks his leg, something, a season-ending injury for Brock Purdy, you don't have an appropriate backup, it's over. Quarterbacks get hurt. It happened last year. Jones came in when Purdy missed 8 games and the 49ers went 5-3. There's tremendous value to that I think, given the position the 49ers are in with some of their veteran players and the time ticking for them, I think that value exceeds the value of a third-round pick coming back to, or whatever it would be for Mac Jones. So even a second-round pick. I think that the 49ers are right to draw a line in the sand and say, we are standing on this side of it. We need a 1 for Mac Jones. Make it worth our while so we can make the team better holistically immediately if you want to trade for this guy. They were extremely smart and maybe even a little bit lucky to be able to get a second year under contract for Mac Jones. It was about a year ago at this time where they signed him. They got him under contract for 2 years, which I viewed as downright miraculous, and it became even more miraculous as time went on. I still don't understand why Mac was willing to sign for 2 years, but he loves it in San Francisco. I don't think he minds it. And he's already gotten a nice reset in year 1, and he's almost certainly going to be with the 49ers here coming up in year 2. You think the 49ers... I think the 49ers could get Njoku if that is a spot of big focus for them. Also the 49ers could be waiting things out until after the NFL draft. Remember that any signing that they make now of a free agent whose contract has expired from another team could hurt them in the compensatory pick formula. And they love to pick up compensatory picks. I think right now it's even. I don't think they're going to be getting anything this next year. So you always have to remember that the 49ers might be playing a little bit of that. If you sign a player after the NFL draft, he doesn't count against the compensatory pick formula. The only reason I bring something like that up is because the 49ers have gotten more compensatory picks since 2020 than any other team in the NFL. So they play that formula very well, and it's been a big part of their success. And if Spencer Burford signs with the Chargers, who he's visiting tomorrow for quite a bit of money, that could give the 49ers a lower round comp pick. So we'll tally it all up at the end. But Burford, he's very much part of that comp pick formula. And before you say that a 7th round comp pick doesn't matter, Brock Purdy was a 7th round comp pick. So every single pick does matter. Before, with the Brandon Aiyuk thing, maybe the Commanders want to get him into their camp earlier, and the 49ers just won't release him before September 1st. So maybe they send a 7th round pick the 49ers way. That can turn into a good player. You might as well get that extra lottery ticket if you're the 49ers, or at least try to, while upholding some principle in that whole Brandon Aiyuk situation. All right, guys, I've gone 45 minutes. I could hear the rain starting to pour even harder. I could hear the thunderstorms, tornadoes on its way. Cross your fingers. Pray for me. We'll see how we make it through the night, but we'll probably see you again tomorrow morning. Let's hope so. Knock on wood. Everybody, thanks for watching. We're still on Highway 101. Let's get to 102, 102,000. Hit that subscribe button. Ooh, that was a big flash of lightning right now right outside. I haven't heard the thunder yet, though. So it must still be kind of far away. Anyway, time for me to go. Hit that sub button. We'll talk to you soon. There's the thunder. So there was like a 4 or 5 second delay, I think. Still means that it's a little further away. So I've got time to go hide. All right, we'll talk to you soon.